Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to King Arena here on campus at Wheaton College, and welcome back college basketball.
Amen.
Tonight we have the season opener between the Wheaton Thunder and then the number 8 ranked Benedictine Eagles. These are teams that are familiar with each other and saw each other to open up the season last year.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice repeat of last year. Obviously, we didn't quite comprehend how good Benedictine was going to be last year when we played them. Lost by, I believe it was 15 in Lyle last year. And this is a team that's looking to reload, this Benedictine team. They're not looking to, after the loss of Lucas Johnson, they're not looking to rebuild. Nate, they are looking to reload and go back to a championship.
Yeah, and this is a Thunder team that is going to be kind of a question mark coming into the season. So much youth, not a single senior on the roster.
Absolutely.
One of the most interesting things about this Thunder team, I'm really excited to see what Coach Schauer has in store for us and what he can do with these young players.
Yeah, Coach Schauer, you just saw him on your screen there. He's looking to, quote, reestablish the program culture of winning, of hard work, of ethic. And then on the other side, the big thing for Benedictine is going to be to reestablish dominance on the boards. They averaged 14.3 rebounds more than their opponents last year. That is a huge number. A large amount of that is due to, again, Lucas Johnson, reigning National Player of the Year, averaging a double-double with 11 rebounds a game. So they're going to be looking to reestablish that, especially against this Wheaton team that is similar in height but a little bit weaker.
Yeah, Casey, you're talking a lot about reloading for these Benedictine Eagles. This is a team that went to the national championship game 2 years in a row, I believe. Or no, pardon me, just last year. Ended up losing to St. Thomas, I believe. And really just a team that is going to be ready to go. We're going to take a quick break for the national anthem and opening ceremonies. We'll be right back here on the Wheaton Thunder Sports Network.
Back here on the Wheaton Thunder Sports Network. Once again, I'm Nate Stein along Casey Balickian.
bringing you the Wheaton Thunder season tip-off. Run through the starters real quick. First for the Benedictine Eagles, number 2, Teron Harvey, number 11, Matt Charlton, number 12, Sean Salter, number 33, Michael Blazik, and number 35, Adam Reynolds. And for the Thunder, we have a new face in the starting lineup, Ashton Francis, a sophomore transfer from Tyler Junior College. Then we have number 2, Luke Peters, number 13, Kobe Eichelberger, number 22, Ricky Samuelson, number 32, Reagan Jones.
And what you see in those starting lineups is almost an exact matchup. Obviously, a little bit more wins in the team in red. But what you have in Michael Blazik is you have a shooter. What you have in Ricky Samuelson is you have a shooter. What you have in Luke Peters is a guard who likes to go down low. What you have in Teron Harvey is the same exact thing, and I believe they're guarding each other. This will be an interesting matchup for the Wheaton Thunder, a team that is very similar to them. We'll see how they fare.
Eichelberger wins the opening tip back to Peters, and the Thunder will get their offense set up. Peters swings it to Francis. Francis finds Jones. Eichelberger swings it across to Samuelson. Peters down in the corner, drives baseline, tries to kick it out. Reynolds gets his hands on it and ends up in the hands of Blazik. Harvey to take it up, and yes, we do see Luke Peters on Harvey.
That's going to be a matchup to watch. Luke Peters is the key player for this team this year. Coach Schauer said it in his preseason conversations with us that Luke Peters is going to drive this offense, and he's going to have to play well on defense tonight.
Blazik driving into the lane and draws the foul. The foul will be on the floor, so it'll be ball down low for the Eagles.
And Coach Schauer this year going back to his traditional pressure, passing lane denial defense. Last year they tried to pack it in, and it just didn't work for him.
And a bunch of rebounds right away for the Eagles. I think that was 3 or 4 in a row. Finally get the second chance point, and it'll be 2-0.
The huge point for Wheaton this year, the biggest question mark in my opinion, is going to be rebounds, Nate. Can they get boards with these bigger, stronger teams?
Peters working down low on Harvey. Reynolds on the help defense. Inside to Jones. Jones goes up left hand, can't get it over the top of Salter. And now the Eagles going the other way. Blazik slows it down, swings it into the corner. Charlton for 3, he knocks it down.
Great ball movement there by a great team. I mean, that's what you like to see from number 6 team in the country, getting everybody involved, and Charlton knocking it down at the end.
Francis hands it off to Samuelson. Samuelson looking down low at Peters. Peters on Harvey down low. Peters goes up and can't get that one to finish. Harvey driving the other way, slows up at the top of the arc, fires a 3, and knocks it down, and the Benedictine Eagles launch themselves out to an 8-0 lead inside 2 minutes gone. And Coach Schauer is going to take an early timeout.
Yeah, Coach Schauer, not a guy who likes to do that either. He hoards timeouts, so you know that he's displeased, I'm assuming, with the defense there by Peters. Just too far off a good shooter. But one thing I wanted to talk about, you see that Adam Reynolds is actually way off of Kobe Eichelberger. Kobe is out on the three-point line, a decent shooter, and number 35, Adam Reynolds, is planted in the middle of the key. So the Thunder are going to have to work through Luke Peters. There's no doubt about that this season Luke Peters has to be the catalyst. Coach Schauer said of him, he will play as many minutes as he can bear because he is going to be the engine that drives this team. But he's got to recognize when he's double-teamed and there are shooters on the perimeter that are open, he's got to find them, especially when Adam Reynolds is probably 20 feet off of Kobe Eichelberger out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this Thunder team. Everybody can shoot.
Yeah.
Even if Coach Schauer doesn't necessarily want everybody shooting, everybody on the floor has the capability to make three-point shots at a pretty decent clip.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's going to be something they're going to have to take advantage of. That's something that Luke's older brother, Ty Peters, did so well, the All-American from the 2013-2014 season. He was such a good passer and had great shooters around him, and that's why that team was so good.
Francis with it on the right wing, looking down low. Samuelson underneath, puts it up and in the Thunder on the board.
Really good ball movement there. Something that I'd love to see out of Rick Samuelson just in the couple of scrimmages they played is how much stronger he's going to the basket. He's realizing that he's got to find another way to score besides shooting the 3, and he has responded to that.
Blazik swings it to Harvey on the far side. And Salter is going to get called for the moving screen and just kind of threw his shoulder into the body of Jones, I believe. And now we see Trevor Gunter coming in for Reagan Jones. Gunter, a sophomore out of Flint, Texas. 6'6" forward, getting a little more size to match up with Solter.
Yeah, Gunter's been flirting with the starting rotation all preseason, and I think it was probably a toss-up between the two, and I'd assume you're going to see both of them get a sizable amount of minutes tonight.
Reynolds gets his hand in the passing lane, and now looking down low. Beautiful play from Kobe Eichelberger, just getting his hands in there on Solter and tying that one up for a jump ball. This one will stay down low with the Eagles, but great vision there from Eichelberger.
Yeah, good hustle to get back. He lost his man and busted it to the middle of the key to get there on that pass. Good defense there. Would like to see him not lose his man, but a great recovery by Eichelberger.
Blazik swings it to Reynolds up top, hands it off to Blazik, and Samuelson's going to get called for the hand check.
So in talking to Coach Panner before the game, he mentioned that he thought that the team in white was more athletic than the team in red. So far, number 2, Teron Harvey has looked like he's the best athlete on the floor. And right there you saw Ricky Samuelson just really not able to keep up with the first step of his man. So we're going to look to see that athletic advantage possibly in fast break.
And a good job there by Eichelberger in transition. Francis feeding the big man who's running the floor. Eichelberger drawing the foul.
I mean, he got the foul, and he'll send himself to the free throw line. This is a team in Wheaton that has led the CCIW the last 2 years in a row in free throw percentage. So this is a team that wants to get to the line.
And let's not forget that 2 years ago, the Wheaton Thunder led all teams in college across all divisions in free throw percentage. I believe it was above 92% from charity stripe.
So that's going to be something that this Thunder team looks to do, especially in transition, is get to the free throw line in any way they can, and you see Kobe Eichelberger doing a good job of that.
Eichelberger goes 2 for 2 from the stripe, and we see Zach Quam in the game guarding Teron Harvey. Swung to the far side, Charlton for 3, that one off the back iron. Gunter pulls down the board. Peters going the other way. Slows up at the top of the key, looking for Francis, has him. Francis, a deep 3, no good. Rebound by Blazik. Blazik trying to work into the corner. Charlton can't hold on to that one, but out of bounds, last touch Thunder. And it'll stay Eagle ball. Inbound and a handoff to Blazik, kicked out to Solter. Solter for 3, gets the friendly roll. 11-4 in favor of Benedictine. 3.5 minutes into this one.
Confident shot there by Solter, a guy who shot 26% from the three-point line last year, putting up a confident-looking shot and getting it to go.
Francis swings it across to Gunter. Gunter with the shot fake, looking inside. Peters gets around Harvey, and Peters puts it in close range.
I like that move by Keith Buttenberg, though, the coach of Benedictine, to move to a zone. You never know how a team is going to handle a zone until you do it. And you see the Wheaton College Thunder adjusted well there. We'll see what he does in the next possession.
Solter up top, Eichelberger on him. Looking inside for Reynolds. Reynolds backing down Gunter. And Gunter's going to get called for a foul there.
Benedictine appropriately noting that they have a little bit of a strength mismatch there. Reynolds, 230 pounds, 6'6". Gunter coming in at 195 pounds. That is 35 pounds for those of you at home doing the math. So they definitely want to expose that. And you saw Quam there, number 12, digging to try to get the ball out of there, but a really good job by Teron Harvey to get the ball back into their big man. It looked like something that the Wheaton Thunder might want to look at is Harvey didn't want to go to his left, went right into traffic with his right hand. So maybe something for Gunter to do is to force Harvey to score with his left hand in traffic.
And we see the freshman Jay Spencer come into the game, and now he's going to match up with Harvey. Spencer's got 2 inches on Harvey, or on Reynolds, but way in a disadvantage from the weight standpoint. And Gunter working down low, gets one and the foul. Good job getting his own rebound there after the initial miss and going up strong through 3 Benedictine defenders.
And something that Benedictine does not want to let happen here in King Arena is for the Thunder to hang around, Nate. If the Thunder hang around, we saw it last year. The last game this team played was against the #1 ranked team, Augustana, and they took them to overtime in this place. And they are, I mean, Augustana was the better team. But when Wheaton hangs around, they hang around, and they can put a game together. Benedictine does not want to start off their season with a loss to unranked Wheaton, especially going into their schedule, which is brutal in the coming weeks.
Gunter unable to finish off the three-point play. Quam getting his hands in the passing lane, but a lucky deflection gets it to Reynolds. Harvey back up top, trying to drive to his left into the corner. Three from Bogus, no good. Peters pulls down the rebound. Now Peters going the other way. Reynolds slows him down. Quam has Peters working into the lane, goes up with the left hand, wild layup, no good. Reynolds pulls it down.
Peters being very aggressive here early. It looks like he knows that he's got to be important as a scorer for this team to be successful.
And a friendly roll there allows Blazek to finish down low. Jay Spencer, the 6'8 freshman, doing a good job of affecting that shot a little bit.
Benedictine's exposing their dominance down low. I mean, you can tell they're shooting threes and making them, but it's all inside out. They're going inside, trying to find an advantage there, and then kicking the ball out if there's nothing to be had.
Francis drives baseline, kicked out to Quam. Quam for three, no good. And there's going to be a foul on the floor. Gunter and Spencer both with their hands in there, and it'll be Jay Spencer picking up the foul there, his first.
You know, a great offensive possession there by the Thunder. A good pass by Francis out to Quam, and that's a shot that you'd like to see anybody hit, honestly, especially on a team like this that's such a good shooter. But Quam not getting a lot of minutes last year. That was maybe it was his first shot all season, but one of few in his career, and he is a good shooter. You have to figure that he will get better as he gets more experience, and he will definitely see minutes this year as one of the leaders of this team.
Braden Olson into the game for the Eagles. And now Gunter going to get called for another foul on the entry pass. Reynolds causing all sorts of problems down low.
And that's not something that the Thunder want to see. They are, to begin with, they are not big. And to see Gunter, one of their bigger guys, get 2 fouls this early in the game is not something that Coach Schauer wants to see.
The Thunder defend that inbounds play well. That was Jake Mlagan, a freshman from Brownsburg, Indiana, getting a hand up in the face of Blazek. Now Francis for three, no good. Loose ball picked up by Harvey. Mlagan guarding Harvey. Bogus down low. And Jay Spencer, get that out of here. Quam going the other way now. Swings it to Jones. Outside to Francis. Francis going in. Floater off the backboard and in. Good move from the sophomore out of Tyler, Texas. Thunder within 5 with 13 to play here in the first half.
Starting to see the athleticism of Wheaton here in the last couple possessions. Mlagan comes in, makes a good defensive play, and then backed up by Jay Spencer down low with the block.
And Teron Harvey in Mlagan's eye.
I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he just had to put it right in my face as I was talking about what Wheaton was doing well.
And Ashton Francis right back at you on the other end.
Trading blows in King Arena. The Thunder and the Eagles with 12 minutes and 35 seconds left. Only a 5-point deficit so far for this drastically under-favored Thunder team.
Mlagan getting right up on Harvey. Harvey trying to go baseline. Jay Spencer swats that away again. There you see the 6'8 freshman using all of his length and athleticism. Oh my.
The athleticism of Jay Spencer is going to be a problem for opposing teams in the CCIW and around the country, honestly. I mean, this is a team that's so young with talent. Coach Schauer, I know, loves Mlagan and Jay Spencer especially, and they've got Spencer Peterson, who's another guy, strong football player who's 6'7", who's going to be joining them in a couple weeks. So this is a young crop of good talent, of good athleticism that Coach Schauer has a lot of faith in. But, I mean, you're seeing little glimpses of it here and there where they're going to pose problems for opposing teams down the road.
Yeah, and to go back to Jay Spencer's athleticism, and during pregame warm-ups, I saw him take off from outside the key and throw one down. That's not something you see a whole lot of at the Division III level at Spencer is a spectacular athlete and someone that Coach Shower is really excited about. There you see him working down low. He can't convert. Now going the other way, Bogus gets it forward to Olsen. Olsen drives baseline, kicks it back. Harvey swings it around. Blazik. Spencer with a good closeout. Blazik trying to work in on him. And there you see Reagan Jones getting his hand in the passing lane and disrupting the rhythm of this offense. Francis going the other way, off the rim, off the glass and in, and the Thunder pull within 4.
They're hanging around, and something that this Benedictine Eagles team struggled with last year was turnovers. They averaged 12, a little over 12 a game, and you're seeing that here. The turnovers have turned into points for the Thunder.
And then that one, Bogus trying to throw it off the body of Francis down low, but he avoids it. Eichelberger ends up with it, and Peters will take it the other way. Francis with it, crosses back, getting into the lane, swings into the corner. Luke Peters for 3, knocks it down. Ashton Francis getting fancy.
The 2 guards in the backcourt of Wheaton Thunder could be a dynamic pair in the future, and even in this year, as we just saw a very nifty pass by Francis to a wide open Peters who converts.
Ball will stay down low after the foul as Harvey will go to the free throw line. That'll be on Eichelberger, and Samuelson will re-enter the game, and Mark Champion will enter the game. So we'll see Jay Spencer and Ashton Francis get a break.
Mark Champion, another one of the tall, lanky players for Wheaton. And there are no shortage of tall players on this team, Nate. Are there players that can bang down low with guys like Adam Reynolds, who's 6'6", 230? That's the big question for the Wheaton Thunder. And so far, they've done a pretty good job with the help of guards digging and getting the ball out of there. If you're Benedictine right now, you have to stick to the plan. You have to trust that your shooters will convert. You got to stop turning the ball over, and you got to keep working through the big guys down low.
And Champion, a junior who hasn't seen a whole lot of playing time in the past couple of years, and someone who has really just been around trying to build his strength up. And on paper, he's going to do a little bit better job of matching up with Reynolds down low. Champion 6'8", 205. Samuelson running the point, kicks it to Champion on the left wing. Down low for Peters, and there's going to be a foul called. I believe that's going to be on Michael Ryan, or pardon me. Into the corner for Samuelson. Samuelson picks up where he left off last year, knocks down a corner 3. And we are all tied up here at King Arena, 21 apiece. Bogus with it, driving into the lane, takes it to the rim, can't finish, but draws the foul, so he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
And that was something you saw on the offensive end for the Thunder. They found Ricky Samuelson open. Ricky Samuelson is the leading scorer for this team that is returning this year. Obviously, a lot of losses in the offseason due to graduations and transfers. But Ricky Samuelson is the kingpin coming back as far as the points column is concerned. And he's going to be a guy that they're going to try to get involved as much as possible. He is not going to be a guy that they're going to drop an isolation play to. He's got to be the result of the skill around him, and that's what just happened.
Ashton Francis re-enters the game as Samuelson gets a breather. Champion. Looking up top for Francis. Francis drives left, looks down low. Eichelberger can't hold on to it. Last touch Benedictine.
Yeah, a little bit of a force there by Francis. A really good idea, but when he was off balance, he should have just pulled it back out and tried. Lucky that there was a touch by Benedictine, so it wasn't a turnover. But that's just, little mistakes that you make when you don't have a ton of experience that this Thunder team will correct.
Jones a little short on the baseline jumper. Benedictine going the other way. Shropshire taking it up. Looking in down low. And what a challenge at the rim by Luke Peters, keeping Zach Gorney from having a free look at the rim. Peters kicks out to Champion. Down low, Jones, and he lays it in easy, and we're tied at 23.
I think the whole gym wanted to see Jones to throw that one down, but you know what? Real men lay it up, Nate.
Yeah, I'll dunk when it's worth more, right, Casey?
Exactly.
Bogus kicks it to Shropshire, looking into Gorney. Kicked out, Charlton for 3, that one just short. Ball tipped around, out of bounds, last touch Benedictine, Thunder ball going the other way, and now we'll see Mlagan and Jay Spencer re-enter the game. Jones takes a break, as will Mark Champion.
As far as the rebounds that we discussed earlier in this game being a problem, halfway through the first half, the Thunder hanging in there. 9 total rebounds compared to Benedictine's 11. They're doing a pretty good job staying in there, but they're going to have to do it the whole game. This is a 40-minute contest, and 10 minutes doesn't mean a whole lot for a team that we saw really struggled in the second half last year.
Francis with another pass across the arc. Eichelberger can't finish. Bogus pulls down the rebound. Shropshire going the other way. Hesitation move. Olsen back to Shropshire. Charlton into the corner. Now Olsen back up top.
Really good ball movement by Benedictine. They're being patient, finding a good shot.
Now Olsen goes up for a corner three. No good. Peters can't pull it down. Olsen does a great job of keeping his dribble after losing his footing. Now Charlton looking for somewhere to go. Looks inside for Shropshire. Gets it across to Olsen somehow. Up top, Charlton for three. No good. And another offensive board. Mlagan gets his hand in the passing lane. So Eagles will reset. Shropshire, Charlton, up top, Gorney, wide open three, and he knocks out one down. You give him enough chances, they're going to convert.
Yeah, even a blind squirrel finds him not every time, and Benedictine is certainly not a blind squirrel. Team that went 31-0 before their first loss last season. They're going to make you pay if you give them second chance.
Yeah, far from a blind squirrel. Francis, a deep three, no good. And Shropshire is going to get called for the foul, so Francis is going to go to the line to shoot three.
Wow, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not see that. I turned around and was looking at stats. I'm surprised to see him go into the line.
I was following the ball. Shropshire is incredulous right now, still shaking his head at the referee. Now shaking his head at the stands. Francis misses the first one.
Shropshire getting talked to there by the lead official. As you said, I love that word, incredulous. He can't let it go, and that's going to be something that he's going to have to drop. He only has one foul. Given, I agree with him. I don't think it was a good foul, but he's going to get taken out of the game. He can cool down a little bit.
And now we see some wholesale substitutions. Olsen going to be the lone player left on the floor, and it looks like it'll be pretty much the starters back out on the hardwood for these Eagles. Charlton being the one exception to that.
Sure, and one of the things that you love to see about Benedictine is how they're deep as well. Wheaton is playing a ton of players because, honestly, Wheaton doesn't know who's going to be big for them this year. Benedictine kind of has it figured out. I mean, 3 starters return from a national championship team, but they're playing 9 guys just like Wheaton because all the matchups work. They're a team with great chemistry out there.
And speaking of the depth that Wheaton's going into, like you said, they've played 10. But one face we haven't seen that I was expecting to see is Michael Winowiecki. He was a guy who saw a lot of minutes last year. So not quite sure what that's about.
Sure. And there you see Reynolds coming back in and just asserting his dominance. He had a little breather and the Thunder caught up, but it seems like Reynolds is going to be the key to success for Benedictine tonight down low. In regards to Winowiecki, I personally thought he was going to start this year. Having played in some open gyms with them, Mike Winowiecki was a vocal leader in their practices. He's somebody that works hard. And so I'm sure there's a good explanation for why he's not on the floor. It looks like he's at the end of the bench, like someone who might not play at all. But definitely a good player. Like you said, we saw him contribute heavily in some of last season's games. But maybe Coach Tower just feels like he has better matchups in this game, or maybe Winowiecki has lost some favor. That'll be something to watch as the season progresses for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned Reynolds coming back in, asserting his dominance right away. Reagan Jones re-enters. And Ashton Francis unable to convert from beyond the arc. Harvey going the other way. Spencer meets him at the rim, and Jones rips down that rebound, and an ill-advised pass ahead from Jones. But Quam getting his hand in there, gets it to Francis, and a tough pass to Francis, and it leads to him not converting. Quam needs to just deliver that. He has plenty of time, instead just kind of rolled it haphazardly, and now Jay Spencer gets called for the foul down low.
Ugly, ugly sequence of basketball right there. Let's start with the Benedictine possession. Quam gets absolutely destroyed on ball. Lucky that a foul wasn't called on number 32 for Wheaton, Jones. Ball goes back, turnover, ball goes back, turnover, ball goes back. You got Quam again delivering, I thought, a decent pass, but just not able to come up with it for Francis. And then, I mean, another foul on Jay Spencer. That's going to be his second, I believe. So he's going to sit down for a little bit, and that's just something that happens when you're young. I mean, Benedictine, they struggle with turnovers. We've talked about this. Wheaton shouldn't, because they are going to struggle with other things, and turnovers are the one things that they can control. And a young team is going to be bound to turn the ball over, but things like this can't happen.
Yeah, it's a great look from Jones. Champ can't hold on to it down low. Right idea, just not the best execution.
The game is moving quickly for the team in white, Nate. They're seeing openings, and they're thinking they have to exploit it every time. There was 20 seconds left on the shot clock when that ball was thrown. If it's not wide open that early, you don't have to risk a turnover. And that's something that young players just have to get used to. The pace of the collegiate game is so much faster than the high school game.
Quam working on Harvey. Now Jones on Reynolds. Quam digs at him. Good closeout. Blazek on the wing. 3 seconds on the shot clock. He throws up a three. No good, and Jones pulls down the rebound. Peters going the other way. Gets it to Jones. Jones looking inside for Quam. Kicked out to Francis. Francis baseline jumper. Knocks it down.
Tell you what, if it falls, it's a good shot, but when he pulled up for that, I was kind of hoping that they would move the ball a little bit more, but that Aston Francis is a very talented offensive player, and he's someone who's got to be a little bit loose for this team to score with the big boys.
Reynolds calling for it down low. Peters gets his hand in the lane. So 12 seconds on the shot clock, and Benedictine will have to reset from down low.
I love what Coach Bunkenberg for Benedictine is doing. I mean, he is understanding that Reynolds is the key to their success. This is a guy who's he's in his 21st year of coaching. He's the D3 Hoops National Coach of the Year last season. And he's someone who's coaching himself a good game, trying to work through number 35. Coach Schauer trying his best to get all of his guys down in the key so that Reynolds doesn't become the X factor in this game.
Olsen swings it, 5 seconds on the shot clock. Blazek gonna have to pull up a real deep three. That one short. Francis somehow keeps it in bounds. What a hustle play from the sophomore Francis. Now Francis swings it across, champion, wide open three. Can't bank it home, and then it'll be a foul on Olsen for going over Peters' back.
Francis is a little spark plug out there, I'll tell you what. The sophomore transfer from Tyler, Texas is really pulling his weight. Something that Coach Schauer had mentioned that was worrying to him about Francis's play was he's a very talented offensive player, but is just lacking the effort on defense, and I have not seen any of that in this game. I have seen Francis be honestly the spark plug. That diving play over there was one of the best saves I've seen in a couple years here calling games at Wheaton.
I would agree. Peters swings it across to Jones. Jones trying to look down low, swings it to Champ. Peters crosses over, spins, kicks it out. Jones for three, knocks it down. And that's what we got to see from Reagan Jones. Exploit Adam Reynolds hanging out in the paint, as you mentioned earlier in the half.
They all shoot, Nate, and that's going to, like you said, they just got to fall for this Wheaton team to be successful against Adam Reynolds, excuse me. They just got to fall from three land. Great job there by Jones, making him pay.
Quam is going to get called for the foul out on the baseline. That will send Harvey to the line to shoot two. The Thunder are already in the double bonus, about 4.5 to play in this first half. Teron Harvey knocks down the first.
See Olsen getting a break there. He's played a lot of minutes so far in this game, been a big part of the ball handling effort for Benedictine. Good for him to get a break, but I mean, this game is tight, and I mean, you'd like to see, I think if you're Benedictine, you'd like to see yourself going into halftime with a little bit more of a cushion.
And Jones again.
He is feeling it.
The big man going to make Benedictine pay as long as they don't put someone out on the perimeter on him.
Adam Reynolds is going to struggle if Reagan Jones is going to shoot like that.
Oh. And then that is going to be Salter going right back at it to quiet down this King Arena crowd. Peters taking it the other way, gets it to Francis. Francis swings it across, Champion for three. Just rims out. Peters trying to get his hand in there. Harvey pulls down the board. Quam picks him up. Reynolds up top. Charlton pulls up, knocks it down, mid-range jumper. 5-point advantage for the Eagles with 3.5 to play. Peters runs the point, gets it to Francis.
See, Peters wants the ball bad down there. We'll see what he does with it, with Reynolds standing there in the key.
And Peters with the left-handed floater can't get it to fall. Francis comes flying in, almost able to tip that one up and in. Reynolds all alone down low for a moment. Corner three, no good. Peters pulls down the board and Blazek gets called for the foul.
Nate, there are too many defensive breakdowns for the team in white right now. I mean, that's a wide open three-pointer for a guy who's a very good three-point shooter. He shot 46% last year. He doesn't miss much. And that just can't happen. And this is the kind of stuff that you've seen with Wheaton over the last year or two, I would say, is they get away with stuff. They get away with stuff. And then a team like, you know, an Elmhurst who's ranked second in the country or something, they make you pay eventually. And this is a team that's ranked 6th in the country that's going to make you pay. And it's whether or not Wheaton can make them pay. I mean, right there you just saw Reagan Jones making him pay for keeping the big man in the paint. I mean, those kind of defensive breakdowns, wide open shots just can't happen, and they're going to trade blows until they stop.
Peters knocks down his first as the Thunder are in the bonus, earns himself a second. And Peters can't convert on the second one. Gunter pulls down the rebound, going to battle down low, can't finish. Gunter trying to go right at Reynolds after pulling that board down, and then good recovery on the other end. But Teron Harvey taking it himself.
That was pretty basketball right there. That was just a talented player being a good player. That was impressive.
Gunter working down low on Bogus. Kicks it out to Peters. Peters with the pump fake going in, and that'll be Reynolds called for the foul, and Peters will go to the line to shoot two. Thunder getting to the line a good amount, but shooting just 50%. That is abysmal for what we're used to seeing from this Thunder side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can chalk it up to pregame jitters. You can chalk it up to a young team. Whatever you chalk it up to, it's got to stop. They got to shoot better than that because, I mean, they're going to drive into the lane with these big players, and the chances are they're going to get fouled, and they've got to convert.
Peters can't convert on the first. Here's the second, and he goes 0 for 2, so the Thunder drop down to 40% shooting from the charity stripe. You don't need a mathematician to tell you that's not good. Harvey with it, kicks it out to Olsen. Francis gets a hand in his face, but Olsen knocks it down.
Another defensive breakdown right there, Nate, just not going over the screen. Francis has got to jump to the ball when the ball is swung to one pass away from him. The way this defensive system works, it is imperative that you are in the right position when your man doesn't have the ball, and Francis was just a little late in the switch there.
Yeah, now the Thunder, who are as close as 5 just a moment ago, trail by 9, and it will be Benedictine ball. Samuelson and Eichelberger enter the game as Gunter and Quam take a seat.
Something to watch with this Thunder team is the big players. Are they in the big players, as in the key players? Are they in good enough shape to not get fatigued in being the stars?
Yeah.
That is a hard thing to do early in the season, and Aston, Francis, and Luke Peters are going to have to be in phenomenal shape this season in order for this team to be competitive.
And that'll be Reynolds finishing down low with the foul. Spencer, I believe, called for the foul, and he's unhappy with that one.
That's his third, if that is on Spencer.
It is on Spencer.
A big blow for the Thunder. And that, I mean, you can like that call or not. I don't know what I think about it, but that's a great play by Reynolds to make the officials make that call to put them in a position. There's some contact, and it's got to be one way or the other. More often than not, officials are going to call that foul.
Reynolds can't finish the three-point play. Spencer with it up top. Samuelson, Peters now. Peters swings it. Samuelson, one dribble, pulls up for three, no good. And that was just interesting. Peters kind of backed off that as if he thought someone on Benedictine touched it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it might just be chalked out to fatigue. I mean, there's a minute left, and he's played almost the whole half. Maybe it just wasn't worth it in those legs to go after that ball.
Thunder trailing by 11 with a minute to play. Bogus, a wide open three, no good. And Eichelberger is going to get called for holding Reynolds, and Reynolds will go to the charity stripe to shoot two.
I mean, look at how wide open that is.
Yeah, that can't happen.
And they're lucky that he missed it, but, I mean, I don't know about that foul either. But that kind of stuff is what Wheaton has to work on. And this defensive system, give credit to these young guys. It's a tough system to get good at. Having run it myself, it is not easy to know where you're supposed to be when people are moving around and running. But, I mean, in order to be competitive, they have to. And that's going to be something that Coach Schauer, I mean, the amount of defensive drills that this team is going to do in practice is going to be honestly painful.
So Reynolds goes 1 for 2, and he'll get a breather. See what the Thunder can do with him on the bench, see if they can mount any sort of comeback. Francis gets it to Jones. Jones back to Francis. Fakes right, drives left, swings it to Peters. Peters driving baseline, tries to kick it out to Jones. That ball's on the ground, and it ends up with Bogus, now Harvey.
Ooh, good finish. Very good finish there by Harvey.
Yeah, Spencer looked like he was going to be able to swat that one away, but Harvey doing well to use the rim as his protection.
A game that was tied just 8 minutes ago has turned quickly into a 14-point game. Luke Peters will try to take the Thunder into the locker room with some momentum.
Yeah, that's a lot thanks to a 9-0 run from these Benedictine Eagles. And with 4 seconds on the shot clock, the Thunder are going to have to get something run quickly from out of bounds.
And they do have a couple quick hitters, but they're all from the baseline as far as I know. So this will be something that is maybe a sideline out of bounds play meant for a little higher. This might be a difficult thing to pull off for the Thunder. Yeah, not something they've practiced before.
Samuelson gets it up top, drives in. Euro step finishes as the shot clock expires. Great finish from the junior Samuelson. 1 second. Prayer up from half court, no good. Samuelson gets it and launches it down court. After 20 minutes, the Thunder trail 47-35. Just kind of broke down there at the end of the first half. We're going to take a quick break from halftime, but we'll be back with the second half of action after this. Once again, I'm Nate Stein alongside Casey Balicki, and you're watching the Wheaton Thunder Sports Network.
At the heart of the Wheaton College mission are Wheaton College students. The young men and women God has called to our campus for education, apprenticeship, and discipleship. Students whose minds and hearts the living Christ has entrusted us to prepare for kingdom service that transforms the world. Whether they are called to the classroom or the boardroom, whether they serve impoverished communities in Africa or grace the concert halls of Europe, whether they preach from the pulpit or confess Christ in the coffee shop. Wheaton students are at the forefront of Christian leadership, growing families and building communities, using their knowledge and faith in service to the church and the world. Today's Wheaton students stand on the shoulders of many faithful servants who have gone before, a great cloud of witnesses whose testimonies challenge us all to give the love of Jesus Christ to a world with needs that will not wait. Now I invite you to join us in a comprehensive campaign to make every student's Wheaton education more remarkable, more relevant, and more reachable, not only today, but also for generations to come. When you join us in supporting Wheaton's From the Heart for the Kingdom capital campaign, you invest in a liberal arts education that is rare and precious. Together we will build on our commitment to academic excellence, grounded in the person and work of Jesus Christ, carried out in state-of-the-art facilities and encompassing the full spectrum of the arts and sciences. Together we will empower each student to articulate a clear, biblical, and personal understanding of vocation, providing the tools that kingdom servants need to fulfill their God-given callings. We will expand student access to diverse and deeply enriching learning opportunities on campus and beyond, preparing them to address the complexities of a globally connected world. Together, we will enable students of all social, racial, economic, and geographic backgrounds to flourish by keeping a Wheaton College education affordable and providing not only a warm welcome, but also a true home for every qualified Christian student. Now, more than ever, Wheaton College depends on you, loyal alumni, parents, and friends, to support the capacious vision of learning for all of life that is at the heart of Christian liberal arts education. This rare and precious endeavor requires extraordinary engagement from kingdom-minded Christians who champion Wheaton's mission to prepare young leaders who have a passionate commitment to live from the heart for the kingdom.
I think a lot of today tries to emphasize how much you need to be the individual and how much you need to kind of have your plan set out for you as soon as you reach the end of high school. Vanguard just kind of popped out of nowhere, and the idea of a gap year, spending it in the woods, and I felt like I just needed to take some time away from the kind of rigorous academic world just to kind of recenter myself. I feel like this is probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, was to take a gap year.
For me, going right to college was really kind of a scary thought because I didn't know what I wanted to major in, what I wanted to do. So taking a gap year was a really good chance for me to just grow and mature a little more before going to college.
Once a month we would have professors from Wheaton come up and run a seminar, and those were exploring big questions of faith or big questions that millennials face.
Also, just the Vanguard community itself is really tight, and we became kind of like a family.
I'm very thankful for these people who are willing to push me, but just care for me so deeply, and definitely I think something unique to this place, to Honey Rock, and to Vanguard as a program.
Basically the whole year was one immersion trip, being here in the Northwoods and interacting with the local community here. Another was going to the Dominican Republic.
It was learning and delving deeper into my faith, but without grades and without this pressure that I've always felt to perform. And I think having the opportunity to learn in such an intimate setting has influenced me in a really positive way.
I think what Vanguard does is it helps you to really discover your true potential and help you to kind of define your own calling.
It's a year of your life, yeah, and you might think, oh, this will set me behind all my friends, but it won't. At this stage in life, you're still so young, and there's still so much time to explore the world and to see what you want to study, and you'll have your 4 years of college, but you don't need to rush into that.
The person I am now compared to the person at the beginning is different in a lot of ways, but probably one of the most important ways would just be less anxiety about the future and more of just like present-mindedness and openness to what God is doing and like what His plan is from here.
Yeah, I definitely think looking back on it, taking a gap year and doing Vanguard was the best decision of my life. I'm Andrea DeMoss.
Stephen Westich.
I'm Monica Gomez.
My name's Austin Farrell.
I found Wheaton my senior year of high school, and I remember thinking there's no possible way I could afford this school.
I did look at the price tag, and I did think I probably can't go here.
You know, you never know what opportunities God will open up to make a place affordable for you to go. And so I decided to continue to pursue it.
I received my acceptance letter and I cried when that day. I remember it perfectly. But then reality struck and I just thought, how am I supposed to pay for that?
A woman in my church said, if you get into Wheaton, they're gonna make a way for you to get through. They're going to find some financial scholarship or loan that's gonna help me get all the way through. And I remember thinking, okay, that's a joke, there's no way.
So I applied and I got 2 letters, memorable letters. One was from the admissions office saying I got in, and I thought that's brilliant. But the more important letter was the one I got from the financial aid department that said, you got in, but you can come.
My dad is a pastor full-time, so we didn't really have the capacity to pay for that. So we started to pray a lot, and I got in contact with the financial aid office.
The people in financial aid, they're so personal with me, and they've sat down with me and talked to my mom and
jumped through every hoop with me and assured me that they're going to help me make it through, that we're going to figure out whatever angle we can to help me get a Wheaton education and be able to graduate.
I ended up getting enough help from Wheaton to actually attend and go to this school, which was amazing for me. And I'm so happy that I did because of the educational opportunities, the Christian growth opportunities, the world perspective and change in perspective and challenging perspective that I'm experiencing. Wheaton College really seeks to bless its students to experience all it has.
And we are back here at King Arena on campus at Wheaton College. Once again, I am Nate Stein alongside Casey Abalikian, and you are watching the Wheaton Thunder Sports Network. The first half started really well for the Thunder. They were hanging with them until about 6-7 minutes left, and then it was all Benedictine from there.
Yeah, and I mean, you see flashes of good basketball, even great basketball with this team in white over here on our left. But this team in red, Benedictine, is so much more consistent. I think that's been the real difference. You look at the stats, and Wheaton is losing in every single category, but you might not say Wheaton's getting dominated in this game. It's just little breakdowns. You know, we've been talking about the whole first half, just little defensive breakdowns that Benedictine hasn't taken advantage of. But, I mean, those are adding up, Nate. I mean, when a team gets 3 offensive rebounds in the same possession, that's going to add up. You know, when you miss 3 different defensive assignments in the same possession, that's going to add up. And so the thing for Wheaton is, can you put together good defensive possessions consistently? It's one thing to do it once, and they've done that. We've seen that. Great defensive possession. Aston Francis diving off, to save a ball from going out of bounds for a steal. You know, steals at half court, things like that. But Wheaton Thunder has got to do that more consistently, and that's what Benedictine has been able to do, and that's why you see a 12-point margin.
Yeah, and one number that we were talking about before the game, something that we were going to keep an eye on, was rebounds.
Yeah.
And according to our stat sheet, Benedictine only has 5 offensive rebounds. I'm going to go out on not so much of a limb and say that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because I think I saw them have 5 rebounds in a single possession.
Yeah, sure. We saw, in the first possession they had, I think, 3, and then there was that one where they had, 3.
At least 4.
Yeah, so, that's a skewed stat, and even with that, without those offensive rebounds, Benedictine is out-rebounding Wheaton total by 8 rebounds. 7 rebounds. And so that's something that the Wheaton Thunder have got to be better at, and that's where Adam Reynolds, as we've been talking about all game, Adam Reynolds has been the player. He's not been the leading scorer for Benedictine, but he's been the player in establishing their dominance in this game.
Eichelberger takes it in, tries to scoop one up and under. Reynolds picks it up and falls and hands it off to Harvey.
But again, that was Reynolds. Eichelberger was so aware of the presence of Reynolds on that layup that he just didn't go up quite strong enough and didn't get the ball there.
Charlton in the corner. Salter. Down low for Blazek, working on Samuelson. Samuelson gets a hand up, and Blazek finishes over the top.
That move was indefensible. If you can make that move, you're going to be a very good player, and he is.
Peters works it into Jones. Up top, Samuelson. Jones for 3, and he stays hot from deep.
Feel it, big boy. That is 3 for Jones on the night, and they're going to have to make an adjustment. He could be a huge X factor for this Wheaton Thunder team if he can pull those big guys out of the key.
Reynolds working on the wing, hands it off to Salter. Blazek. And Blazek with that same move we saw last drive, and he does the exact same thing and knocks it down.
Did I say indefensible last time?
You did.
Indefensible. That's a great move.
Peters taking it up, gets it to Samuelson. Samuelson for three, and knocks it down. And now we will see a quick timeout from the Benedictine side. Coach Bunkenberg furious.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be one of the only, you don't know much about this Wheaton team when you're coming into playing in the opening game of this season because there's so many new players. One thing you do know is that you can't let that guy shoot.
Yeah, don't let 22 get a good look from deep. If he will make it.
There is only one player that you have to scout for Wheaton as of last season, and it's 22, and that's why he called that timeout. The known shooter, all the players on Wheaton can shoot, but 22 is the one guy you cannot let shoot or he will make you pay.
So quick timeout from Coach Schauer. Not a whole lot for him to say, I guess, besides, hey guys, try to stop that indefensible shot that Blazek keeps making.
I mean, we're in a minute and a half, they've made up 2 points. At this rate, they're going to win the game.
Statistically speaking.
Simple math.
Statistically speaking.
Speaking of winning games, in an unfortunate turn of events, the Wheaton College women's basketball team just wrapped up a game in Holland, Michigan at Hope, and they lost in overtime to number 10 ranked, what's their mascot? The players from Hope in an overtime game between 2 ranked opponents. So the Wheaton Thunder women's team will be obviously very upset about that, but a really, really, really promising season ahead of them.
Yeah, Thunder women coming into the season ranked number 21 in the nation. A win over 13th ranked Hope would have spiked that up, but
I think it's the Dutch.
Tough.
I think that's
that sounds right.
Dutch.
Peters working ahead for the Thunder, gets it inside to Francis. Francis goes up, runner in the lane, no good. Reynolds pulls down the rebound. Peters trying to catch up with Harvey. Harvey drives in, looking for somewhere to go. He's surrounded and he will be called for the travel. Good trap down low underneath the basket for the Thunder. Harvey had nowhere to go and just lost his pivot foot.
Yeah, they swarmed him there. It's pretty similar to what actually happened to Aston Francis on the other end on the possession before that. He got swarmed and had to fade away. You would like to see him go to the basket, but there was really nowhere to go with Reynolds and, Solter standing right there with their hands up. Those are 2 big boys, and a very similar thing happened on the Wheaton defensive end just now.
Eichelberger with it. Faces up on Harvey, uses his speed to get around him and spins one off the glass. There's the athleticism from Eichelberger to blow by the bigger and slower Reynolds, pardon me. Teron Harvey swings it to Reynolds. Reynolds looking for somewhere to go with it outside on the wing. Samuelson on Harvey. Harvey spins, and then a beautiful help side block from, I believe that was Peters, reaching in, getting his fingertips on that one. Now Samuelson drives into the lane, off the glass, and one! And the Thunder are inside 8 now, and Samuelson with a chance to make it 7. Great hesitation move, just absolutely blows by Blazek and finishes over Solter on the help side.
Have we ever talked about how in love I am with the hesitation move? It's a simple
not this year, I can say that for sure.
That is the simplest move in basketball, but it is so effective. And Samuelson utilized it perfectly right there. Finishing with the left hand off the glass, that's a nice play.
So the Thunder within 7 now. As Teron Harvey moves the other way, looking inside for Reynolds. Harvey spins back, goes up, and finishes off the glass with his own left hand. Peters calling out plays, directing traffic. Eichelberger, and once again, goes up around Harvey, use the athleticism, just blow by him. I think that's something that we're going to see a lot of. Eichelberger getting it up high post and just a couple of head fakes and just runs by him.
Yeah, I really like that play call. Getting Eichelberger and Reynolds one-on-one on the perimeter. Reynolds just isn't fast enough, and that's another mismatch that the Thunder can exploit. I mean, with Jones out there as a shooter, and with with Eichelberger out there with that quick first step. I mean, Reynolds is going to be neutralized pretty quickly if he has to come out on these guys and guard them one-on-one, and that could be the Wheaton Thunder's ride to getting back into this game. Is those 2 players taking advantage of Reynolds' weaknesses?
free throws. The Thunder need to make free throws.
Yes, they do.
Shooting 46% from the charity stripe so far in this game, and that's just not okay. Eichelberger chases down that loose ball. Peters going the other way. Jones in the corner, three-pointer, no good. However, Samuelson tips that one out. Peters can't control it. Reynolds going the other way, and he goes up and lays it in with the right hand. Jones feeling it from deep. That would have been a huge momentum swing for the Thunder. Instead, a 5-point swing, and now they trail by 10 again. Samuelson from Lagan. Lagan looking for somewhere to go with it. 10 on the shot clock. Samuelson at the top of the arc goes in and gets blocked from behind by Bogus, and the Thunder are going to have to get a quick hitter from the baseline.
One thing that the Thunder have really improved on from last year is ball movement. I mean, with this result, the Benedictine Eagles played very good defense, and it ended up with Ricky Samuelson having to go one-on-one. But last year, there was so much stagnant basketball being played by the Thunder. This year, there's so much more movement, a definite improvement for their offense.
Francis threw up a three at the buzzer, couldn't get it to go, and then a little bit of a frustration foul there, trying to corral his miss.
Yeah, I love that. I love that term, frustration foul, and that is completely natural, especially with a frustrating, moved the ball well, didn't get any good looks, and then you kind of just had to throw up a three at the end of that shot clock. It's definitely an understandable frustration shot, but really him and Luke Peters cannot let their emotions get the best of them at all this season, because they are so crucial to this team's success.
10-point game, just about 5 minutes into the second half. Lagan working on Harvey. Good active hands there from the freshman. Now Reynolds gonna pull up from deep. That one no good. And Harvey somehow gets that ball away from Jones. That's just sloppy control there from the sophomore Jones. Gunter on Reynolds. Harvey for three. No good after rattling around the rim, and Jones rips this one down, and this time he will hold on to it in that power stance. Francis in the corner, sends it across to Mlagan. Mlagan drives baseline. Jones goes up through contact from Reynolds, and Jones will go to the line to shoot two. Reynolds unhappy with that call. Saying the referee pretty much, after he calls a foul and Reynolds looks at him and questioning, referee pretty much shows Reynolds exactly what he did, reaching over the top, kind of curling his hands. So good call there from the ref.
Absolutely, frustration's understandable, because I think he's probably more frustrated with himself, knowing that this was about to happen. He was going to get pulled out of the game for getting in a little bit more foul trouble. He only has two, but again, he's so important. You can't let him get into any foul trouble. I think the frustration was more with himself, with not making Jones finish over him and sending him to the line for two.
Yeah, so it's Gorney and Olsen re-entering as Reagan Jones goes 2 for 2 from the charity stripe.
There's a rare sighting on the game tonight.
Ugh. Blazek guarded by Peters. Logan with a great hustle play there, getting his hand in the passing lane, chasing that one down. Comes up limping a little bit. And it looked like Samuelson was ready to take him out of the game anyways, so Logan will go get a seat on the bench. Shower loved that hustle play.
Yeah, I think number 23 in white is somebody to look for in years to come. I mean, he's got all the tools. He's quick. He can play offense. He's such a good work ethic. I mean, this is going to be a guy that even towards the end of this year, I would wager, is going to be a huge part of this team's attack.
An offensive foul called on Blazek for hooking Peters, trying to seal. And that'll be Blazek's third.
Peters is doing a great job on defense on Blazek, a returning guy who's averaging 14-point-something points on a national championship team, and Peters so far hold him to 10, which, I mean, considering Peters never really having to face these kinds of defensive challenges. Last year it was always Johnny Burnson who had the brunt of their offensive attack. This year it's all on Luke Peters, and I mean, I'm a bit impressed with the way he's contained Blazek in most of this game.
Jones swings it to Peters on the right wing. Hand off to Francis. Francis looking for somewhere to go. Steps back. Samuelson with 6 on the shot clock. 5 seconds. Peters gonna have to go somewhere with it. Drives in on Harvey, goes up, just gets it off at the buzzer, but can't catch the rim. And it didn't seem like when Peters got that ball, he was aware of what the shot clock was at. He kind of took his time, took it back towards the Thunder logo at midcourt, and he's got to be able to read that better, a little bit better. Harvey going the other way. And then Harvey throws it away. Bogus. Not quite sure what Harvey was trying to do there, and the Thunder catch a break.
Yeah, I mean, it's silliness that has to happen on this court. And I think Coach Benkenberg would agree that just should never happen. And especially with a team like this, it's so opportunistic. Wheaton, if you just give them any glimpse of hope, but just like that, they make up for it.
And a great defensive effort there from Logan, chasing down the other way and affecting that shot, keeping it from being an easy bucket. Now Ricky Samuelson in transition, no good. Jones can't corral it, and it'll still be Benedictine's ball. Ugly basketball.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those runs of just of bad turnovers, and it seems like Benedictine always comes up on the positive end of those exchanges. That'll be something that Wheaton's just got to take a little bit better care of the ball and let Benedictine shoot themselves in the foot. They're trying to shoot themselves in the foot. In this first game of the season, Benedictine has looked anything but perfect.
Right.
But Wheaton just not able to capitalize on those mistakes.
Inbound to Olsen, kicked out to Bogus. A wide open 3, no good. Quam with the rebound. Quam gets it to Samuelson. Samuelson immediately goes into the lane. Bogus gets his hand in there, and then Bogus goes down hard, and he's slow to get up. So Samuelson will go to the line to shoot 2.
I really, really like this take from Samuelson. Samuelson's not one to drive in their mind, but he has done a lot of work in the offseason, really realizing that he's got to go to the basket. It looks like Olsen is a little shaken up there. Maybe
Olsen took a shoulder to the face. That was from his own player, Gorney, on the help side. Yeah, we saw it in the replay. Olsen's head just kind of snapped up when Samuelson drove by him right into Gorney's arm. Spencer swings it to Quam. Quam fakes right, goes left, gets it to Spencer. Quam again. Far side, Eichelberger. And it'll be a kick ball off the foot of Bogus. 13 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, I mean, this is a young lineup they got on the floor. We got freshman, sophomore, junior, with the two leading scorers on this team, Francis and Peters on the bench. So this is a test for these younger players. Can you find Ricky Samuelson, pretty much?
Which they did. Samuelson unable to convert that corner 3. Rebound Benedictine. Shropshire hands it off to Olsen, working into the corners. Bogus. Harvey trying to go up strong. Can't get it to go. Thought there was contact. Logan now going the other way. Crosses over, gets into the lane. Left-handed, can't finish. Spencer will get the jump ball. Possession arrow is favoring the Eagles, though, with a good play from the freshman Spencer to get his hands in there.
Yeah, I mean, even more impressive than that for me was Zach Quam on the last defensive possession. It looked like Malagan got beat bad on ball out on the wing, and Quam was early on the rotation. That's not something we've seen much. Quam met Malagan's man before the block, and because of that, Harvey, who drove past Malagan, was unable to score, and that's what led to that drive in the first place.
And after Sanderson pulls down the rebound,
wow. You guys didn't see that.
But Jay Spencer just put his head at the rim. That happened. Oh my.
Jay Spencer's getting a little antsy. He's looking for a fast break to show off some of that vertical leap, which has to be, I mean, for a 6'8" guy, he's got to be jumping 30 inches.
Good Lord. When I say he put his head at the rim,
yeah,
he could have hit his head on the bottom of the iron.
I'm concerned for his health if he goes up for a dunk.
I'm also concerned for my own health,
honestly.
entry pass to Francis. Shropshire will get called for the foul. And I think Shropshire is no longer going to get the benefit of the doubt after having worked with the referee after his first foul in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, he's the kind of player you like to have. Coach Bunkenberg has used him sparingly, but I kind of like the way that he's coming. He's someone who comes in just kind of rouse feathers, comes in and plays really, really aggressive, really, what's the word? Like a mosquito. He's just kind of there and on you.
Very similar to Zach Quam.
Exactly. That's well said. Except Zach Quam has a little bit more composure, but isn't quite as quick.
After the missed free throw, the ball will stay with the Thunder.
You still have not seen Mike Winowiecki. That'll be something that personally I'll be watching throughout the season. 2 players have not stepped onto the floor yet for the Thunder. That's Winowiecki and
Tyrell Derrick.
Well,
obviously aside from the 3 players that are with the football team right now, as Samuelson takes that to the rack left-handed and finishes. And the Thunder within 6 now.
Well, they've cut the deficit in half here. In the second half, this is a different trend than what we saw last year. Last year we saw a Thunder team that could not put together a second half. And we'll see if they can complete this little comeback here.
Olsen responds well with the mid-range jumper. Peters. Jones. Francis with it, up top for Eichelberg. Down low, Francis. Foul on the entry pass will be on Blazik. That's his 4th.
And that's one of the great things about all these Thunder guards posting up is you can get off-ball fouls really easily with posting up and cutting to the middle like this. And that's one really good thing about Coach Shower's offense and this team is when you get Luke Peters down there, when you get Francis down there, when you get, even Quam has gone down there and Ricky Samuelson, when you get those guys down there, you start pushing and shoving with your elbows and refs could call that a foul and that will send your team to the free throw line, which I would assume the Thunder think is an advantage to them, although that has not materialized here tonight.
And it still doesn't. The Thunder back under 50% now, 8 of 17. Olsen with it on the right wing. Into the corner for entry pass, and the foul will be on Reagan Jones. One thing to look at is the fouls on the board for the Eagles already. 8 fouls, so Thunder in the bonus, pretty close to the double bonus. That could play a role down the stretch so the Thunder can start converting from the stripe.
Yeah, not even halfway through the second half. That's a great place to be.
Good defense from Samuelson, keeping Olsen from knocking down that 3. Now Francis going into the lane, gets to the rack, finishes, and 1. Through the contact, Francis puts his body on the line, and he went down hard.
It's a good, aggressive take there. I thought he was going to kick it out to Peters right there when Peters' man stepped up, but I really like that he went to the rack. Again, those are the 2 guys, Peters and Francis, who have really got to be aggressive. And as a result of that, you hope that people will start focusing on those 2, and that's when Samuelson can start to make his mark on games, making people pay from the perimeter.
And you could see in that replay, Gorney's right heel just barely in the restricted area. Good job from the ref seeing that and making that call. And Francis knocks down the free throw to convert the 3-point play.
A 5-point game here at the halfway point. The Thunder have cut a 12-point deficit to a 5-point deficit. And we'll see what they do here in the second part of the second half.
Reynolds calling for the ball down low. Gorney can't find him. Harvey up top. 10 on the shot clock. He drives into the lane. Foul on the floor. It'll be on Luke Peters for the hand check. That's his first of the game. So good to see Luke Peters staying out of foul trouble. That's something that he struggled with a little bit last season. We saw him get a couple, 2, 3 in the first half for the fact that we're over halfway into the second half, and that's his first. That's growth, and that's progress.
That is growth. That's something that Coach Shower has talked to him a good amount about, is just keeping himself in games without getting in foul trouble. And he's done a good job guarding Harvey without getting into foul trouble.
Reynolds working down low, swings it out to the corner, driving baseline, kicked out to Harvey. Good defense from the Thunder. And oh my. Reagan Jones is incredulous, and I can't blame him.
Yeah.
He was standing straight up, and Harvey jumped into him. Yeah, I guess Jones left his feet a little bit. I'm less incredulous now.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a good player does. I mean, Teron Harvey's one of the best players, one of the best guards in the country. And I mean, if you're in that position, I loved personally on that possession for Benedictine how patient they were. I mean, the Wheaton Thunder were scrambling, and they did a good job. The Thunder did a good job making sure that their bases were covered. They were on ball. Nobody was wide open. But at the end of the day, Teron Harvey was just too good. You know, he came in, he was patient, found an opening, and then just drew some contact and finished. And that's what good teams do. They're very patient, and they make you pay when you're not there.
Francis working on Olsen, swings it into the corner for Samuelson. Down low for Eichelberg, working on Salter. Can't finish. And a whole mess of players go down, and now bodies will convene. Eichelberg hopped up like he was ready to fight somebody. You can see here after the play, Eichelberg getting all sorts of tangled up with Charlton.
Yeah, the ref will have a few words just to make sure this game stays clean. I personally think the refs have done a great job tonight. There have been a couple questionable calls, but we've not had a game that's been dominated by questionable calls. And I think when you don't talk about the refs as commentators, that's a good sign.
Good job by Brady Sandvig getting out there, cleaning up the floor.
I mean, if that's the only way that you can get onto a college floor, which it was for me when I was on the team, I was the towel boy.
Hey, you got out there, though.
Got my touches.
Gunter gets the inbound. Into the corner for Samuelson, back out to Peters. Down low, Gunter. And Gunter's called for the travel. Can't have that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the game is just moving quickly. You know, that was something that when I was in high school, I used to struggle with that early on in my career, was just getting the ball down low, knowing that I had the advantage, but just getting too excited. And I think that's what Gunter did right there. You know, he's not played much in college, and it's going to take a while for him to get the ball and gather his thoughts before he starts going somewhere. Perfect example of it right there.
Yeah, as Reynolds gathers himself, throws a nice shot fake to get Gunter in the air, then finishes over the top of him, and this Benedictine lead back to 9. Samuelson up top for Francis. Peters looking to drive baseline, hesitation move. Francis, 7 on the shot clock. Samuelson up top, 3. No good. And last touch off Peters. Benedictine ball.
And this is, I mean, that was an example of what I've told people all along. You know, people have said to me, well, they have Ricky Samuelson back this year, and he's going to be their best player. And while I do think that Ricky Samuelson has to score a lot for this team to be good, I think it's going to be much, much more important that Francis and Peters set him up. Because every team this year knows, don't let 22 shoot. And if he's got to shoot shots like that one he just took, which was a contested fadeaway, I mean, he's not going to shoot the 40-something% that he shot last.
And Reynolds will be called for over the back on Jones, and he is unhappy with that one. So Jones will go on the other end as the Thunder in the double bonus. I thought that was a pretty accurate call. I mean, it looked like Jones had it in his chest, and Reynolds just kind of reached over the top of him and manhandled him.
I mean, you're not a little biased, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell from just the camera angle, and I personally was blocked. I couldn't see it. So you got to trust the zebras. But, I mean, the ball never lies, so we'll see what happens.
And Jones knocks it down, so I stand by myself. And the second one from Jones, also good.
The ball don't lie, Nate. The ball don't lie.
So a timeout from Coach Bunkenberg. Full timeout, so the players will grab some pine.
And, you know, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, but just to re-emphasize it, I mean, this is, right now, we're looking at a 7-point game in King Arena with a team that has, I mean, they've never done this before. So, I mean, this could happen. Like, I don't want the viewers to think that, like,
it absolutely can happen.
Oh, Benedictine's going to run away with it. 7 points is not overcomable. Absolutely not. Luke Peters and Aston Francis make a couple good drives, kick it to Ricky Samuelson, and he makes 3 in a row. This game is, I mean, this place is alive, and this game is very much in Wheaton's control. And so, I mean, this is exactly what Coach Bunkenberg doesn't want to happen. Is this team that's unranked, that won 5 games last season to beat his 6th in the country team on the first game of the season, especially when they go in. I mean, next week they play, after us, they play St. Norbert, 4 in the country. Then they go to North Central. Then they go to UW Oshkosh. That's number 13 and number 21 in the country, respectively. I mean, this is a brutal schedule put together by a coach who wants his program to jump to the next level on a consistent basis. And a program who's at the next level doesn't lose to a team who was 5-20 last year. And if you're Coach Schauer, you're very pleased with how your team is staying in this game, and you're looking for your team to go to this level and be a team that can compete with ranked opponents.
Salter gets that ball wide open at the elbow and knocks it down to extend the Benedictine lead back to 9. Gunter up top for Peters. Swings it to Francis. Francis fakes, drives left, fires his mid-range jump shot, knocks it down. And you can see every time Francis knocks down one of those shots, his confidence boosts just a little bit more. This is the first time he's seen this type of competition, playing at junior college last year in Tyler, Texas. And he feels good right now. You can tell by his body language. Good help defense from Peters there. We're just unlucky that Harvey's waiting on the other end to finish that one uncontested.
It's tough on that one because Peters had to rotate over for the help, but then there's no one to box out his man.
And Jones is going to get called for the over the back. And Jones unhappy with that one. Good box out from Reynolds there. And you can see Jones just reaching over, grabbing Reynolds' arm.
So both teams in the bonus now.
There'll be a 1-and-1 for the big man out of Shorewood, Illinois.
So that's going to be 4 fouls on Jones. I mean, that's something he has been. I mean, he's one of the leading scorers along with Ricky Samuelson and Aston Francis. I mean, all 3 of them have 15 points. And, I mean, that accounts for 45 of the Wheaton's 58. So that's a significant amount of points there. And if Jones fouls out, given he hasn't scored much in recent time, he hit those threes and kind of has been silent since. But, I mean, he's a guy that they have to respect. And if they have to respect a guy outside, that means that Reynolds is outside, which opens up the lanes for a guy like Aston Francis, for guys like Ricky Samuelson to drive, for guys like Luke Peters. And so whether or not he's scoring in this game right now, he is a huge factor on the floor.
And I'd like to see a little bit more out of Luke Peters. Didn't realize he only had 6 points in this game. Not exactly what we expected when we were hearing Coach Schauer in the preseason say, yeah, Luke Peters has the keys to this car.
Yeah, I mean, and Coach Schauer explicitly, which was honestly surprising to me, said if Luke Peters doesn't average 10 points and 5 rebounds, we're going to be in trouble. Luke today has 6 points and his total rebounds are 3, so he's just behind that pace. We look for him to pick that up in these last couple minutes, try to stifle what is a advancing Benedictine team now up again by 11.
Yeah, we're inside 7 to play in the second half, and this is where we saw Benedictine start to pull away in that first half. Jay Spencer re-enters the game to replace Reagan Jones. Spencer with 3 first half fouls kept him out entirely in the second half so far until this point.
I think if you're Coach Schauer, you're very pleased with your team thus far in the second half. The first half was not good. The second half so far has been much, much better. I mean, this was a team that was on pace to score 90-something points after the first half and is at 70 now. So their defense has definitely gotten better the last couple of plays notwithstanding.
Francis for 3 knocks it down in Olsen's eye. The Thunder back within 10. We have a quick timeout taken here by Coach Schauer right after his sophomore point guard knocked that one down.
This has been a game of a lot of 3-point shots. Both teams have taken more threes than they have free throws. And I mean, both teams shooting a very good percentage from 3. Wheaton shooting with just the edge, 36.4 in this game, as opposed to Benedictine's 31.8%. But I mean, this is Coach Schauer's game plan. His game plan is let's shoot about 40% from 3 and see what happens this year with this team. I mean, like we said at the beginning of this broadcast, they have so many shooters, Nate, and anyone can do it. And I mean, Reagan Jones, for example, not the guy we would have pinpointed at the beginning of this game to hit, 4 threes thus far he's made, or maybe 3, I can't remember. but I mean, he's made waves in this game from the three-point line, and that's what Coach Schauer is hoping for. They have so many guys that can do that. Somebody's got to get hot.
Yeah, and on that point, I'm about to make a big stretch of analogy, so bear with me.
All right, I'll bear.
Think about the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, like I said, big stretch. But they have guys on the floor at all times when they throw out their quote-unquote lineup of death. They have guys on the floor at all times that can convert from deep.
Sure.
This Thunder team is a very, 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 very baby version of that lineup.
Yeah,
in that sense.
I see what you're saying there. Again, it was a little bit of a stretch, but
a lot of bit of a stretch. I will admit that.
In the sense of having guys who can shoot on the floor at all times, I think you are correct.
Spencer a little late on that rotation, but Salter misses short. It'll be Thunder ball with a chance to get this Benedictine lead down to single digits. I really want to see Jay Spencer on a breakaway. Oh man,
it would be fun. I think all of us Wheaton fans would like to watch that. Although I think
even some Benedictine fans might want to watch that.
You're probably right, honestly.
Francis drives, kicks to the corner. Eichelberger for three, no good. Harvey pulls down the rebound. Olsen. Salter. Looking for Reynolds. Spencer digs over to help on Reynolds. Reynolds goes in, can't convert, rebound Francis. Francis spins into the lane. And a beautiful move there. Shot fake, shows the ball, gets Harvey off his feet, and a nice drop step and flips that one underhand off the glass.
I mean, like you said, he's getting more and more comfortable with the ball in his hands. He's looking like Johnny Brinson at the end of last season. I mean, Johnny finally realized that he could not be stopped, and it looks like Francis has realized that here in the first game.
And there Harvey responds with a jump shot of his own. Peters hands off to Samuelson. Samuelson drives in, pulls up, knocks it down. Those are the kind of looks that Samuelson's got to get his rhythm going. Then he'll be able to start knocking down those contested three-pointers.
Yeah, very encouraging to see Wheaton trading punches with this team if you're a Wheaton Thunder fan.
And Harvey takes it right at the Thunder defense and goes up and finishes. Francis going at Olsen, working into the lane, pulls up and draws the foul. I think that's going to be Salter caught reaching in. And it will be Olsen upset, thinking that was called on him, and even upset with Salter saying I had him locked down. So Francis will go to the line to shoot a pair. And Francis misses his first.
Shooting 52.4% from the free throw line.
Francis just 2 of 7 from the charity stripe.
And Francis is not the kind of guy who's at all going to be satisfied with that. I mean, I would not be surprised if every time I walk through this gym for the rest of the week, Francis is at the free throw line, because he's played well in every other aspect and just hasn't been able to convert. I mean, if he makes those 5 free throws, this is a 4-point game. And not to put it all on him, definitely. But, I mean, there's something to that.
Yeah, this is a Thunder team that usually shoots well into the 70s and 80s percentage-wise from the charity stripe. Even saw them above 92 a couple years ago, as we mentioned in the pregame. So to have them playing this poorly in that facet of the game is pretty shocking, honestly.
Sure.
Francis trying to convert down low, can't finish over Harvey. And now Salter will call timeout. Coach Bunkenberg asking for a full timeout. So with 3:51 to play, Thunder trail by 9 and really just need to take advantage of some opportunities that they're having.
Yeah, and I'd love to just beat a dead horse with you here, Nate. Free throws.
Oh yeah, let's beat that horse. Come on, baby.
I mean, Wheaton Thunder has missed 10 free throws on this game, and they're down 9 points. When you're playing the 6th-ranked team in the country, you cannot miss free throws. And that is, I mean, I would be shocked if Coach Schauer doesn't, harp on that, because there's a lot of things, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that have gone wrong in this game for Wheaton, but they're still in it. And if they were to make free throws, which is one of the most basic tasks a basketball player can do, I mean, they're winning this game against the number, against the number 16 in the country.
I think what we're seeing here is at least the beginnings of a team that is going to be very, very good. Keep in mind, 0 seniors on this Thunder roster.
Absolutely.
Come next year, they are only adding pieces. They are not losing anybody to graduation. Teams around the country should be watching this Thunder team going, all right, maybe not this year, maybe they won't be someone who necessarily worry about the rest of the season, but next year, you better bet they're going to be on the national radar.
Absolutely, and I think that's honestly something that Coach Schauer enjoys about this team is that they're not on the national radar. And so, I mean, reminiscent of the 2012-2013 team that lost, Tim McCrary, these great players, and everybody said, oh, they're going to be terrible. And then that was the rise of Tyler Peters. I mean, a guy who was in contention to be the National Player of the Year. Nate Haynes that year came on the stage. I mean, these were guys that ended up being preseason All-Americans that nobody knew about before that. And so, I mean, maybe we're seeing a team like that. You see a couple of these guys bulk up, get bigger. Aston Francis, Luke Peters get better. I mean, this is a dangerous-looking team in the next few years.
And travel called before that entry pass. And that was a weird interaction. Oh, and now Reynolds being told to watch his tongue.
I mean, honestly,
so a couple of these Benedictine players are going to be on short leases the rest of the way with this ref crew.
It would be huge for Wheaton if those guys lost control. Because, I mean, really the only way I see Wheaton coming through with this is if Reynolds or Salter, and I mean, there we see Salter in foul trouble here. But
that's his fault.
If one of those guys gets out of the game.
Salter's done. That's Salter's fifth.
That is huge.
And keep in mind, Blazek has 4.
Yeah, I mean, these are big deal stats if you're Coach Bunkenberg. These are your difference makers. Obviously, they're not your leading scorers. You have your Teron Harveys and your Blazeks, who are the leading scorers. But if Reynolds fouls out and Salter fouls out and Blazek's got 4.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the numbers, Salter's done. Blazek, like I said, has 4. Reynolds, Olsen, and Shropshire all with 3. So this is a team with a lot of contributors in some pretty deep foul trouble. And Blazek back out on the floor right now. Look for Coach Schauer to call an audible here and say, hey, whoever Blazek's on, go right at his chest.
Sure. And I mean, one of the advantages of Wheaton being so unknown this year is you can't really point at a guy on the stat sheet and say, oh, he's in foul trouble. That's bad for Wheaton.
Right.
They've played, what has it been, 10 guys, and all of them have contributed well to this team. And obviously you have your Aston Francises and your Luke Peters, who you've been talking about as more key. But, I mean, Trevor Gunter could come in and do some damage. Lagan could come in and do some damage. Champion could come in and do some damage. I mean, Spencer, we've seen, can do some damage. So you got guys on your bench that are, in the starting conversation. So you don't have to worry if you're Wheaton as much about foul trouble.
And there you see, I believe, Francis picking up a foul for the hand check. Or reaching in, rather. And that's it, just his second. So Thunder, and not really in much foul trouble. We've obviously have Spencer with 3, Eichelberger and Samuelson with 3 apiece, and Jones with 4. But as you were just saying, that's not necessarily, none of those guys are going to be a death blow for the Thunder team.
Jones goes down, Spencer comes in, and that's a pretty similar matchup. I mean, both of them go down, Gunter comes in, and that's pretty similar. All 3 of them go down, Champion comes in.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Winowiecki on the bench, who I think I've heard conversations about. He's maybe not the best defender, but that's a guy who's put 14 points up on a not regular basis, but he's done it before at the college level.
In the CCIW. We saw him do that in conference play last year. The CCIW, arguably one of the best conferences in the nation.
Sure, I mean, so a 9-point deficit is nothing to be upset about with that kind of foul trouble looming for the Benedictine Eagles.
Francis, spot up! Oh my! Wow, Ashton Francis, did you see that? Oh man, Ashton Francis catch and shoot in Olsen's eye, and then Francis with a little grin at Olsen right there. We didn't catch it at the end of that replay, but wow. I'm excited to see what this kid's going to do the rest of this season.
It's amazing what confidence can do to a player. I mean, you saw him come out so... The difference between Aston Francis in minute 2 of this game and in minute 38 of this game is unprecedented. I mean, he has gone from, I wonder what my role is on this team, to I am your best scorer.
I'm the dude.
Yeah, and I mean, that's honestly, it's super valuable for Wheaton to know that about him. Unfortunately, it's also super valuable for other teams to know that about him. So we'll see moving forward with a 24-point game, you know they're going to be focusing on him in the next one. So we'll see how he does moving forward.
Okay, but here's the thing. Luke Peters,
Yeah, you're right.
the man who has the keys to the car in the preseason, according to Coach Schauer, if they want to key on Francis, that opens up a lot of open air for Luke Peters to kind of do his thing.
And it's gonna just come down to consistency. Can one of those two guys contribute on a regular basis?
And another one from Reynolds. That's going to be called on Eichelberger, and that's his fourth.
Reynolds now a guy who averaged just 10 points a game last year, up to 15. He's a guy, again, as we said, has really been the X factor in this game. You got to expect Teron Harvey to score big points. He's got 25. And honestly, Blazek, we probably expected to have more points at only 10. But Reynolds is a guy who's really stepped up his game in this matchup, which has been favorable for him, Nate.
Yeah, and Reynolds just a big, strong dude. He's the biggest guy on the floor at any given time, by far. I mean, the only guy who can really come close to him is Sean Salter, who's 250 pounds quietly. And he does not look that as big as he's listed.
And they're on the same team.
Exactly.
Which is not ideal.
I mean, obviously, once the Thunder gets Spencer Peterson, he's a 6'5", 230-pound freshman. So he'll be able to match up with guys similar to Reynolds a little bit better. But as far as Thunder football is worried, hopefully Peterson won't be back till next semester.
Yeah, exactly. They'll have a big test. They're playing, I forget what the name is, team from Alabama.
Huntington
on
team
this
that had
Saturday.
5,000 yards of total offense in the regular season. Yeah, Francis fires up another three there, looking for a call. And I'm not sure what that conversation was.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that Francis has got to, being the leading scorer on this team, you've got to keep your mouth shut. You can't get the refs against you because you need all the free throw opportunities you can get.
Yeah. Harvey working on Peters. 4 seconds on the shot clock. 3, 2, and Reynolds goes up easy past Peters. Now back to a double-digit lead for the Eagles. Ooh. Peters goes up and Bogus times that well and throws it out of the way. Peters trying to create contact with Harvey, who just backpedals out of the way. Smart defensive play, knowing he's got Bogus to help.
And I mean, this might sound like an excuse, but I attribute that to fatigue. Luke Peters played 34 minutes in this game, and I mean, he jumps higher than that normally. And not saying he would have made that shot, but he normally plays pretty close to the rim, and he did not play close to the rim on that transition.
Olsen for 3, that one rims out. Tip to Eichelberger. Now Peters pushing ahead. Hand off to Francis. Francis just getting sloppy there. Harvey going the other way. And Peters with a good foul, and that'll be a flagrant. No easy buckets, and Peters is going to pay for that one. 2 shots in the ball coming for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good, like you said, it was a good idea to foul there. And I think he tried to go for the ball, but he just hit him a little too hard. And, I mean, it didn't look like he was trying to go for the ball, even though he had a hand in there. It looked like he was trying to knock him over, which is true. He was trying to knock him over. That's just part of basketball. But I think what we're seeing here towards the end, Nate, is just a team that gave up maybe too little too late, or maybe just doesn't have quite enough this late. Mm-hmm. And I mean, hopefully for Wheaton fans, it's the former, because that's much easier to fix. But especially on that last drive, or on that last possession there, you have Aston Francis trying to go behind his back in kind of a flashy little handoff to himself, and then I think was going to go for the floater in the middle of the key. And there was like 23 seconds left in the shot clock. And, I mean, given he's been scoring like a madman. Mm-hmm. And you got to give the ball to the hot hand, which is why Luke Peters gave him the ball there. But the hot hand's got to be patient. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think you've seen in Harvey. I mean, a veteran guy, a guy who's been there, done that. One of the best players in the country last year and again this year. And he's got 20, what is it now? I believe he's got 27 points. Yeah. And he's, I mean, I've said several times about him just being patient. He's just waiting for his opportunities, letting the game come to him, and that's something that Aston Francis is going to get, and when he does, he's going to be very dangerous.
So now a 13-point lead for Benedictine. And Harvey going to take all the time he wants with this one, knowing that they've pretty much got this locked up. Drives past Quam, floater in the lane, knocks it down. So 4-point possession for the Eagles turns this to a 15-point game. Quam, Samuelson for 3, knocks it down.
It's amazing what percentages can do. Samuelson was 2 for 7 on the day with a 27% average. Now with that one shot, he's back up to 37.5. And I mean, the law of averages kind of states that's going to happen. But he's a good shooter, and it's good to see at least if it's going to be too little, too late, that he's got some positive things to build on for the future here, as he's going to be a big part of this team's offensive attack.
And I think the ref thought I controlled the clock or something. He just told me it ran down 1.8 seconds. So thank you.
Hey, he's done a good job. The crew has been good. Little miscue there, but
I guess we do. In his defense, we have a lot of electronics over here. It looks like we could be controlling a lot of different things.
We do look very official.
If we do say so ourselves. 10 seconds on the shot clock, and Harvey just kind of dribbling it up top. Gonna pull up for 3 in front of Quam. That one not close. Little ambitious there from Harvey, but I guess at this point in the game, he can be ambitious.
Yeah, and I mean, this early in the season, driving to the basket is just it's a little bit more of a chance that you get injured, like roll an ankle or something. I like that shot. I think it's kind of a mercy shot. Kind of let the clock run out.
Ooh. And Francis goes up. That one starts to roll out, but Jay Spencer with the tip slam. There you go. Love seeing that. And it looks like the Eagles will just let this run out. So Thunder pull within 10. Better result than last year. This is a Benedictine team that the Thunder didn't necessarily know how good they were last year. They ended up going to the national championship game losing in the finals. This year, a little better result against a team who is a known quantity. We know how good they are. Here shortly, we will have the thoughts from Thunder head coach Mike Schauer. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be too disappointed. We'll see. He's walking over here right now, but I think he's going to see a lot of good building blocks, a lot of glimpses there out of a young team, giving him a chance to rebuild this program. We'll have his words with Nate right now.
Thanks, Casey. So as you said, I'm down here with Thunder head coach Mike Schauer. Coach, you guys came into the season as a bit of an unknown quantity, lots of new faces, and honestly tonight you guys looked pretty good.
Yeah, well, I don't know quite how to respond to that, because we actually didn't look as good tonight as we had during the preseason stuff and the scrimmages, so I am moderately disappointed. But sort of the plea to the Wheaton people is I've been telling people privately that if they'll be patient, this team's going to get really, really good. Because we played one junior significant minutes tonight. Everybody else is a freshman and sophomore, and you can tell we've got a couple of those new faces who are pretty good, and I think one of the better new faces isn't here yet, and will get to us hopefully later whenever football gets done. We've got a lot of young talent, and I was disappointed with our ability to take what we've been working on and apply it to the games. We did a little bit better job of that in the scrimmages and in practice, and I thought maybe the moment got a little too big for us. But I'll say this, if people are patient, including me, which is not one of my gifts, before this year's out, and certainly before the careers of these guys are out, this team's going to be really good. And we've got some people, if we can get a few guys to join us in this recruiting class, we got something special here if people will be patient.
All right, Coach, you mentioned that you didn't really feel like the team played up to their potential tonight. When this team is running at full speed, how high do you think they can go?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. What I want to see, though, is our ability to apply what we're working on. And so there were a few things defensively that I just didn't see the same intensity, the same communication, some of those things that I had seen in the two scrimmages. Because I'll be real honest with you, the two players here for Benedictine are special, but I don't know that Benedictine is significantly better, if at all, than the Oshkosh team we scrimmaged. And we just had a much greater energy against them. And so I think, I think the first time the lights went on, we struggled just a little bit with some of the stuff we've worked on to apply it. But again, all that being said, I'm pleased. We were down 12 at the half. Ricky Samuelson got 2 fouls, the only experienced guy I have sits with 17 minutes to go in the first half. So kind of everything that could have gone wrong for us did, and I thought our team fought. But I've got to balance the weight of expectations and being patient with, hey, it's not okay to lose, and try to balance that somehow. And we'll see. I'm pleased with our guys. I love this team. This team is a blast to coach. But we've got to be able to apply a little bit more of what we have practiced. Because while I think Benedictine is good, I think North Central and some of those teams are probably a little bit better.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. So there you have it. That's all we have for you tonight. For Casey Balicki and I'm Nate Stein, thank you for watching the Wheaton Thunder Sports Network.